Tyson versus Jake Paul is now officially sanctioned as a boxing match by the Texas Athletic Commission. This means that the result will go on the official boxing records of Jake Paul and Mike Tyson. Dude, Texas Commission, what's up with that?
It was initially announced as an event, but now it's a fight. And we have the 58-year-old Mike Tyson, by the time the fight happens, versus the 28-year-old Jake Paul. That's a 30-year age gap. Is it competitive? We'll discuss.
Well, fellas, with all due respect to Beyonce, this is Texas, baby.
And with all due respect to boxing, this is ProBox TV. Deep Waters starts now. Welcome, everyone, to Deep Waters. Beyonce still looks good, and she's in her 40s. But I digress. Anyway, this is Deep Waters as we take a deeper dive into boxing's top stories. What a show we got for y'all today. I am joined by the champions, Paulie Malignaggi. We got Chris Algieri and ESPN analyst Tim Bradley. As the fellas mentioned, it is official. The Texas Athletic Commission has sanctioned this fight on July 20th between Jake Paul and Mike Tyson. As Chris mentioned, 30-year age gap between the two. Here are some of the rules here in place now that it is sanctioned. The officially sanctioned professional fight. Result will go on the official records. Knockouts are allowed 8 2-minute rounds, 14-ounce gloves, and no headgear. By the way, the last time, this is the record for the largest age gap between two opponents in an official boxing match, 31 years. So there's a little bit of history being made here when it comes to Jake Paul and Mike Tyson. All right, enough of me talking. Paulie, what do you think about all this?
Dude, I think it's wild. I mean, I think it's crazy. I think, it's funny because I've been telling like all the casuals that have been hitting me up about the fight, and I'm like, oh, guys, relax. It's not really it's not a real fight. Like, my casual friends that are just boxing fans, they've been hitting me up since the thing got started. I want to go to this fight mind you, with the spring schedule boxing has. This is the one they've been talking about, right? Again, this one is meant to attract the casuals, of course, And it's like, and I'm like, oh, chill out, man. It's going to be an exhibition. It's going to be a nice show. But, I can't really tell you who's going to win and lose because it's not really going to be a winner and loser. Well, now there is going to be a winner and loser. Now I don't know if the Texas Commission has been getting some blowback about it not being a real fight, about it not having a result, because so many people have been trying to argue. Again, these are casuals. Who's going to win this fight? Oh, this guy's got no chance or that guy's got no chance. Well, you know what? Now we got an official result. I personally am not crazy about it. I think Texas is one of the best states for boxing fans, but the commission is always shady, and I've experienced it myself during my career. And I think this is just a shady decision. Anything for the money, right? Follow the money, so to speak. I mean, I don't really trust this. I know there's the fan base that's out there. Even some people in boxing say, oh, Mike Tyson, he's going to crack Jake Paul, and he's going to knock him out. This is a 58-year-old man. I kind of worry for the safety of a 58-year-old man, and especially somebody who is probably the biggest living legend we have in the sport of boxing right now. It talks about living legends. It's probably between Mike Tyson and Ray Leonard, right? As far as the alive living legends that we have from boxing. The other ones have passed away. So for him to be hurt, he's already been inducted into a Hall of Fame. For him to risk being hurt, man, I don't know, man. Because Jake is strong, bro. I mean, I know you talk about, a friend of mine brought up a good point today. Hey, Larry Holmes fought Butterbean, and Larry Holmes was 52, and Butterbean was more dangerous than Jake. Larry was more crafty even in his old age. Mike was always dependent on being ferocious. And you lose, that's one of the first things you lose as you get older. You don't lose the power, but you lose that ferocity, that intensity. Larry was very crafty. So even as an older guy, he could be very crafty. And Butterbean was fat as a refrigerator, dude. He couldn't catch up to Larry. You know what I mean? Yeah. Jake is still, quick with that jump step. He's not the most technical guy, but he get in there. I don't know, man. I'm still torn on this. I'm still trying to process it.
All right, Chris, what do you think?
Let's put this in perspective. Back in 2021, Julio Cesar Chavez fought an exhibition against Camacho Jr., his former foe's son. And I called the fight, actually. And Mexico wouldn't allow that to be a fight. They said Chavez has to wear headgear. And then it was going to be a fight that they're not going to announce a winner. But Texas will allow 58-year-old Mike Tyson. Guess how old Chavez was when they fought? 58. 58. Wow. So we got two 58-year-old fighters. In Mexico, nope. Can't be a sanctioned fight. Can't be a real fight. Got to wear headgear. It's more of an exhibition. In Texas, oh no, we got a real fight. Knockouts count. We got
But that's another thing in and of itself. 2-minute round. How do you sanction
Okay, so, all right,
2-minute rounds?
Yeah.
You just reminded me of
14-ounce
a
gloves?
point that I was thinking about
Yeah.
earlier. How do you have 2-minute rounds for 8 rounds?
And sanction it.
8 2-minute rounds and 14-ounce gloves and sanction a fight for your professional record? That's not the same sport. We're in a different sport now. 2-minute rounds, 8 rounds, 14-ounce gloves. Heavyweights fighting 10-ounce gloves.
Right.
We're adding 4 ounces and we're making the round shorter. So is it a fight? Is it an exhibition? I mean, under those rules, under that rule state, it's an exhibition, or it should be. Counting towards the record, making a whole different rule set makes absolutely no
They want to
sense.
put the boxing odds on it. That's why. Because an exhibition, you have no boxing odds.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
That's a good
Tim,
point.
Tim, what do you think?
Mike Tyson knock his ass out, baby. Hey, man, I don't know. Hey, look. At first, I thought about it. I was just like, this is kind of crazy. But then I saw the rules, and it said knockouts, knockdowns. It's official. It can happen. 2 minutes. That's going to favor Mike Tyson. 2 minutes instead of 3. No doubt about it. Think about that. 2-minute drill, guys. 2-minute drill. He come out in the first 4 rounds like he's always blazing Mike Tyson, getting him against the ropes, banging him to the body, hitting him with power shots. Come on, man. He has a potential to knock this man out. You know, as you said, Paulie, that the power is the last thing that leave you. You know,
But the ferocity and
understand that.
explosiveness, you know.
Oh, man, you ain't seen them little videos? Those ain't
Those are from 5 years ago, Tim. Those are from 5 years
listen,
ago, man. This guy
listen to me, man.
smokes weed and does shrooms every day, man.
This is Mike Tyson we talking about, dog.
Tim,
The
I'm
legend.
gonna send you a video of him running on a shred mill. I'm gonna show you what kind of athleticism is
I'll
left
tell
in
you,
this
okay,
man.
guys.
It's not very
I'm
good.
gonna-
Hey, 2 minutes, man. That's all. 2 minutes. That's it.
Okay.
That's all it takes.
I'll tell you what.
2 minutes, he can get the knockout. Knock Disney boy the hell out, Mike.
I'm gonna go with. All right. I understand your
Hold
part.
up real quick before you
Go
go.
ahead, let's go
Just
on break
quick odds.
first.
No, we'll get to your point. Just quick odds. Jake Paul is actually the favorite in this fight.
And I'm not
-210.
surprised.
Oh,
Plus
hell
170.
no.
I'm not surprised, but I'm sure that the odds will shift once all the money comes in on Mike Tyson, because there's a lot of people in love with the Mike Tyson mystique.
the nostalgia
and
is
that will shift the odds. But, bro, I'm older than you guys. I'm telling you, I was alive and can remember the Mike Tyson mystique of the late '80s. It's sad for me, bro. Not that he's doing this, because I'm happy that anytime the guy can make money and be all right, man. He's one of the first heroes that I can remember. It's Diego Maradona, Mike Tyson, Michael Jordan, Wayne Gretzky. Those are the first, like, Hulk Hogan, Mr. T. Like, those are the first, like, heroes that
like
I can
icons.
remember
Yeah.
from my age, born in 1980. So I'm a little older than you. I can literally remember what it's like to wake up the morning of a Tyson fight pre-Buster Douglas and be like, whoa. It's like, dude, it's like, I don't want to see the guy get hurt. That's all, man. I feel like Jake is more dangerous than everybody's getting him credit for.
All right, we'll take a quick break here on Deep Waters, and we'll talk more about this fight between Mike Tyson and Jake Paul.
Wednesday Night Fights. On the next Wednesday Night Fights, May 8th, the UK's Robbie Davies Jr. takes on former IBF world champ Sergey Lipinets. Wednesday Night Fights.
Now, you know how we do here on ProBox TV Wednesday Night Fights. You're talking about Canelo Munguia, then you have Inoue Neri, and then you have Wednesday Night Fights. I mean, those 4 or 5 days are going to be fantastic. Definitely want to check it out here, Wednesday Night Fights on ProBox TV. All right, let's continue the conversation of Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul. Our ESPN analyst Tim Bradley, what is Mike Tyson thinking here? I know it's money, but there has to be more to this. What's going on with Mike Tyson's that you see from his perspective?
Yeah, it's definitely about the money. However, I think it's about the fact that, Disney boy is trying to make waves in the sport. That's just
And Mike's a competitor, Tim. As a competitor, deep down, you got that competitor in you, man. It's like you get pushed, you push the bear, he's gonna react. Go ahead, champ.
Check this out, Paulie. Well, you know when you get hit in the face. I don't care how old you are. You a fighter, bro.
Yeah.
Somebody hit you in your face.
As
It
long
don't
as you're
matter
not,
what age you are,
of
dog.
course, as long as you're not stepping in potholes when you get hit, yeah, you're gonna react, of course. Especially
gonna
if you're a
react,
fighter.
right?
And,
So
but
as soon as Tyson gets hit,
But
And he's
what if
going
he's
to
stepping in
react.
potholes when he gets hit though? What happened? What
No.
if he's stumbling after he gets hit? This is just things I'm worried
I'm not
about.
worried about that. That peekaboo style moving his
But
head,
that takes a lot of energy, Tim.
That's
This
fine.
right here, you know how much energy that
2-minute
burns?
rounds,
He's
Paulie.
60.
2-minute rounds. He can't go for 2 minutes. Come on, man.
Tim, I
If
want
he
you to.
can't go for
I'd love
2-minute
for you to be
rounds,
right, Tim.
bro, come on. I mean, I'll be disappointed. I know his wife would be disappointed.
No, it ain't even about
He gotta be able to
disappointed.
go
I would
2
be
minutes.
sad. I wouldn't. It's beyond disappointed. disappointed. I would be sad because again, I've lived this era. People older than me probably can remember it even better than me because I was a child. But I've lived this era. I know what it's like to wake up the morning of a Tyson fight pre-Buster Douglas. Nothing ever compares to it. No Floyd fight, nothing compared to it, bro. I hate to see even the risk of this happening right now.
You know how crazy? You know how crazy
wins this fight. So
You know how-
Jake
you know-
wins this fight.
He's the favorite.
Yeah, you know how crazy.
but I'm
You know how
just saying, if
crazy
he
this
wins
is.
this fight.
The mystique of Mike Tyson is. I was fully on board with what Paulie's saying. Tim, you're starting to sway me because I'm getting excited about Mike Tyson fighting. That's how crazy it is that Mike Tyson
The mystique is still there.
Yes, the mystique is still there, and that's why he's doing this. To
20
answer
years
your
after
poll,
his last
George,
fight, by the way.
So here's another thought. The same way that Tim is talking about the mystique of Mike Tyson, the same way that I'm being swayed because of the mystique of Mike Tyson, hey, man, that can affect Jake Paul, too. Jake Paul goes out there tentative.
But he wasn't alive during that era.
Right. I knew you were going to come with that. But, yo, what do you think he's doing right now? What do you think he's coming? He's watching videos of Mike knocking people's heads off. It's hard not to. Even these like you said, Tim, those videos of him a couple years ago when he's getting ready to fight Roy Jones Jr. He actually looked good in that exhibition against Roy. He's moving his head. He was getting inside. He was ripping the body shots really well. Now, they weren't really going to the head that much, but, he could sneak one in there.
It's 5
and
years,
that power's there. That was 5 years ago.
Your mid-50s, 5 years is a long time.
All he needs is one.
That's what I was gonna.
Mike's a superhero.
That's what I was gonna say because everybody's talking about Mike Tyson getting hit, but Mike Tyson is still at 58 years old. Is a powerful man. What if he hits Jake Paul?
This is the argument that everybody always has. I remember Arturo Gotti Floyd Mayweather. Well, if Arturo just lands one, I'm like, guys, I love Arturo, but he ain't gonna land one. You know what I mean? Like
That's Floyd Mayweather though, Paulie.
Yeah, no, you're right. But this is Mike at 58 also. This is also Mike at 58. I want to make one point though here. I do want to make one point though, because Jake's been trying to legitimize himself in boxing fans and getting a lot of blowback by the boxing media and fans and in general. And he's sort of been saying, I'm going to legitimize myself. They'll eventually respect me. Here's the thing with that. Jake has been doing a good job for his fighters. I love the way he's been treating his boxers. And all of the prospects that he signs, he treats them very, very well. And for
also what he's doing for the amateur program.
Yeah, doing for the amateur program. I've got a lot of respect for the fact that at the grassroots level, there's things he does for boxing that people will never understand. And so for me personally, being on the inside, I like Jake. But at the same time, I'm torn here because as much as he wants to be the guy that says, okay, that boxing accepts him with open arms and say, we accept you. But you knock out a living legend like Mike Tyson, who's 58 years old, people are going to look at you like you took advantage of a situation here. And maybe he wants to. Maybe he wants to play this. Maybe he's loving this villain role like I'm Conor McGregor.
But I'm going to give a great example for that. So Vitor Belfort, great MMA, UFC champion, trains in my gym, friends of mine. He fought Evander Holyfield recently. And they were talking about the fight beforehand, and we're like, it's kind of an exhibition, kind of a fight, but we'll see.
Did Vitor talk to you about that? He talked to me about the fight. Did he tell you what happened? Okay,
he said, we'll see how it goes, and then he said Evander was throwing at him for real.
He said the same
and he's
thing,
like, all right, I gotta protect myself. I'm a man. Yeah. And he ices Evander, and Evander's another all-time great guy that I respect thoroughly. And everyone came down on Vitor. Vitor literally had to hide after that. He was like, I can't believe this. Everyone's coming down on me like I took advantage of this man. And I think, what was Evander at that time? 54, 55?
Yeah, close.
Vitor's 42, 43. Yeah. So he's a retired fighter. He's an older guy. And everyone dumped on him because he did what he did.
But isn't taking advantage of Mike Tyson?
They're going to do the same thing to Jake, too.
That's my point. That's Paulie's point, Tim.
Well, here's the thing. Vitor was an ex-fighter. Jake isn't. So maybe those shots that were blown by Vitor might hit Jake, okay, for argument's sake. Well, but at the same time, Vitor told me that exact same story. He didn't want to go in there and blow away Holyfield. But he said when the shots were whizzing by him, he's like, well, this guy's throwing hard. And, he's bound to land here because I'm not a boxer. Like, I'm an MMA guy. I go with my hands. But if he keeps throwing hard at me and I let him survive here, he might crack me with something good. I got to get him out of there. And he did, and people hated him. Maybe Jake is relishing this villain role at this point because he's saying, you know what, they're never going to accept me, so let me just relish in this. If he knocks out Mike Tyson, he is going to be boxing's all-time biggest villain because you're taking advantage of a situation at 58 years old. And maybe that's what he wants to do. Maybe that makes you a bigger star.
I'd be surprised if Jake were to do that because it seems to me
Jake would knock out Mike Tyson.
No.
Hold on, guys.
He would relish in the evil.
Chris, save that thought. We'll talk about it. We'll continue it on the other side. We got to take a quick break here on Deep Waters. We'll continue.
Wednesday Night Fights. On the next Wednesday Night Fights, May 8th, the UK's Robbie Davies Jr. takes on former IBF world champ Sergey Lipinets. Wednesday Night Fights.
Wednesday Night Fights. Good fighters and great fights here on ProBox TV. All right, Chris, you were making a point about Mike Tyson and Jake Paul. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, it was based off the point of what Paul was saying, that if Jake is to win the fight and relishes in being the villain, I don't see that in Jake. I think that he genuinely loves the sport of boxing. I would see him more being like giving all praise to Mike Tyson. This is theoretically for you to win. Giving all the praise to Mike Tyson and kind of having a similar response that Vitor did and said, like, listen, this guy's a dangerous guy. He was throwing at me. I had to do what I had to do. I had to fight. But at the end of the day, giving all due respect to Mike Tyson.
Maybe he's watching this and he's going to take that approach.
Yeah, well, probably.
The politically correct approach.
Yeah. Go ahead, Tim.
But, so I don't really see him taking that villain approach against Mike.
But where is Jake weak? Jake is trying to turn into this boxer, but he's weak on the inside. And that's where Tyson is strong. He's strong on the inside. You know, even at being at 50, what? He's going to be 58 soon. He still knows how to get in the inside. You know, Jake is not like a prolific boxer on the outside and can stay and maintain his distance. Like, he can't. Like, eventually he's going to have to close the distance to be able to land a shot. Mike Tyson, whether he has a lot of slippage or not, as far as his head movement goes, man, if he slips in one time, bro, and sleeps one of those uppercuts up the middle on Jake, bro, it's lights
Tim
out.
just went back to 1988.
Tim went back to Tyson Speaks. But I tell you what, Tim, as you're talking, I hate the racial undertones in boxing a lot of times, man. Because I get caught up in it and I get criticized and stuff. But bro, as you're talking, all I can think about is the movie Great White Hype. I'm thinking about it. I'm like, what if that happens?
Yes.
All you're gonna see is Great White Hype clips.
Tyson rolls up eating the ice cream out of the thing. He's like, man, my blackness will beat this boy.
Man, everybody in their mama, if Jake is to beat Tyson, I'm talking about every fighter on planet, man, gonna want a piece of Jake. They gonna want a piece.
Well, that's what I'm
Jake
saying.
Paul,
that's a good thing for him.
The villain role, he'll relish it there. That's what I was saying before.
All right, guys, I'm in now. Let's go. I'm in. This worked. I'm in.
Is it safe to say?
I'm gonna tell you something, man.
Go ahead, Tim, go ahead.
I listen to the streets, man. My ear is on the streets, man. And of course, I'm in a very nice area where I live. However, I listen to the streets. That don't take that term out of text, out of context. I'm talking about when I'm walking out and about, people know what I do. Fans are electric about this fight, man. They're electric about this. And now the fact that we have the rules set in play, they're even going to be more excited, man. They're going to do some big numbers. They are.
Tim, you're right, bro.
It's going to be unfreaking real.
Tim, and people are dying to talk about it so much. I got people hitting me up whose numbers I don't even have anymore, bro. Like, they're texting me, and I'm like, bro, who is this? Asking me about Tyson versus Jake Paul. I'm like, bro, who is this? Who's texting me?
This is going to be one of those fights.
Everybody's coming out of the woodworks for this one.
This is going to be one of those fights you're going to overhear people on flights talking about it. I remember when Conor McGregor fought Floyd Mayweather. I remember overhearing people in a couple seats ahead of me being like, oh, man, if he lands that one shot. I'm like, what are they?
It's always the same conversation. No matter what, generation in, generation out. What if he lands that one shot? Yeah. That's the intrigue of fight sports. What are you gonna do?
Yeah. Imagine what do you think is gonna be the reception if Mike Tyson at his age knocks out Jake Paul?
Ooh. But bro, you know what's funny? Well, you know what's funny about landing that one shot? Sometimes guys do land that one shot. Ernie Shavers landed that one shot against Ali, against Larry Holmes. They get up, though. They get up. They get up and win anyway. That's the problem. Sometimes they do land that one shot, and it makes for intrigue. But then typically the guy that's supposed to win gets up and wins anyway. We'll see.
It seems like Jake Paul has youthful exuberance on his side, and then Mike Tyson has power and experience on his side. So that makes for a good fight there. Yeah, all right. Got to take a quick break here in Deep Waters. I'm sure we'll talk more about this as we get closer to the fight. We're going to talk about, people forget, Canelo Munguia fight week. We're going to talk about that on the other side. Welcome back to Deep Waters. By the way, Great White Hype, Damon Wayans, Samuel Jackson, his caricature of a promoter is pretty good. Anyway, with all the talk about Jake Paul and Mike Tyson, this is Canelo Munguia fight week. It starts tomorrow with the fighters descending into Las Vegas. All right, Chris, what's the one question you have about this fight going into the May 4th encounter on Saturday?
Well, before I even get to my question, in T-minus 2 days, I will be boots on the ground in Las Vegas, and I am excited, man. I love fight weeks. I love big fight weeks, but we also got two Mexicans fighting. Mexican fans are the best. They come out all week too. They're gonna be out there all week
So
long.
does Cinco de Mayo.
Oh,
It's like overload.
Overload. I mean, this is going to be so much fun. I'm super excited to be out there. But, okay, my question is, if this is to happen, what happens if Jaime Munguia walks through that first big shot that Canelo lands? What kind of night are we going to expect? I'm curious to see. Hey, can Jaime take the power? Listen, Canelo has game-changing power. He's a great counterpuncher. There's a lot of holes in the offense of Munguia. What happens if he takes that shot? What happens if he keeps walking through those shots the way he normally does? I'm excited to see it. I'm actually really excited for this fight.
All right. Paulie, what's the one question you have about this one?
I'm going to answer the champ. What happens if he walks through the first one? Everybody's strong around 1. Is he going to walk through the one that he gets hit with around 7, round 8, round 9? Because that's the problem with Munguia. He gets hit with him throughout the whole fight, you know? And no, I'm not on the Canelo bandwagon. I'm analyzing this matchup because this matchup is the one we got. So analyzing this matchup, bro, I'm an analyst. It's very hard for me to see Munguia being able to maintain the pace that he loves to maintain if he's getting hit in between those combinations, which will eventually make him a little bit gun shy, I think. And that's sort of the paradox you're looking for in the fight. And is Munguia's pace going to overwhelm Canelo, or is Canelo going to be able to punch in between him enough? Because he does punch a little bit wide, does Munguia, which is probably why we have this fight, right?
Yeah.
But you got to give Canelo some advantages. And if Canelo's power punching in between those shots, the shots you don't see are the ones that hurt you. Getting hit in between does hurt you a lot of the times. We saw Derevianchenko do it to Munguia, who's a smaller guy. Derevianchenko, a natural 154-pounder. What happens if Canelo does it? And yes, I know Canelo's been at 154 as well, but that was when he was, still filling out and growing. Canelo's a bona fide 168. I don't think he could ever go back to 160 or 154. So he's a bona fide 168, and you can see his power has had full effect on 168-pound fights. And that's the trajectory that I'm looking for in this fight. Is Munguia's pace going to hold up when he gets hit in between by Canelo? And if so, then Canelo has problems. If Canelo slows down Munguia, then Munguia has problems. We'll see.
All right.
I guess I got my answer.
Yeah, there you go. Tim, we'll close it out with you. What's the question you have?
Will we see vintage Canelo Alvarez? Guys, I just think that this fight is more than just a fight. I know it's for the undisputed super middleweight championship of the world. I understand it's Mexico versus Mexico. I understand everything that ties into this fight. However, with all that, is this going to bring the best out of Canelo? Canelo hasn't knocked out anybody. It's been some time now. But viciously, I think this is the guy that can bring it out of him because of everything I just mentioned. I mean, the number 1 spot, if he loses to this guy, he loses number 1 spot as well. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens on the pound for pound list as well if he loses to this young guy. But that's the question that I have, man, is are we going to see a vintage Canelo Alvarez, someone that we haven't seen in the past, that's going to show us exactly what we want to see? Because I believe whatever happens to this fight, whether he looks bad or whether he looks good or it's a close match, it's going to tell us the future of both these men, where Canelo's going to go, if he's going to move forward and face a dangerous guy like Benavidez, because this young guy brings that intensity similar to Benavidez, or he does mediocre and then we don't get the Benavidez fight. So that's what I'm curious to see, man.
My question is, what's a bigger fight right now? Mexico versus Puerto Rico or Mexico versus Mexico? Bro, Mexico versus Mexico seems to be more risky for these Mexican fighters. Remember, not long ago, Canelo was saying he wouldn't fight another Mexican fighter. Well, he's fighting yet another one. It's a big risk because you lose that pedestal at the top of the Mexican chart, which is, hierarchy and pride among your culture.
Yeah, Tijuana versus Guadalajara in that match between
Canelo
Canelo
it's a big risk.
and Munguia. Don't forget, we will have boots on the ground in Vegas all fight week. This is ProBox TV, your boxing channel.